morning. Let's do a quick run-through of the front pages of the papers. The Nation newspaper has it first. Human technology errors, not sabotage, March UTME. This Nigeria says UTME tech failure. JAMB registrar weeps, apologizes. And then Leadership newspaper talks about JAMB registrar weeping over Mars UTME failure and reschedules exam for 379,997 candidates. The Guardian newspaper follows suit. JAMB admits system error, released 379,997 candidates for fresh examination. The Daily Trust says UTME, 2025 UTME candidates seek total cancellation as JAMB admits errors. Why we failed, explained by Professor Ishaq Oloyede. Nigeria News Direct says something quite different. Tinubu's economic reforms are making Nigeria more attractive to investors. UK government, as Nigeria's economy records 4 consecutive quarters of growth. That's according to Bagudu. Platform Times looks at security, where federal government launches National Forest Guards to reclaim 1,129 forests from criminals. Blueprint newspaper will look at the DSS dragging Pat Utomi into court over shadow government, accuses ex-ADC presidential candidate of plots to usurp Tinubu's powers. And last but not least, I believe, is the Sporting Live. Osimhen bags, brace, clinches Turkish Cup in style, breaks Jadil's 24-year-old record, scores 35 goals from 39 matches. Guys, Etoma and Veronica, let's look at this. We just saw a video of the reporting by one of our reporters where we saw Professor Ishaq Oloyede admitting that yes, we failed, and he's going to take full responsibility as an institution. That's quite something that we're not used to seeing. For government official to take full responsibility, isn't that significant?
It is not only significant, it is wise. It is very wise, because things like this build trust. People will start trusting your organization because you told the people the truth. I know a lot of us will focus on the fact that he cried. He was seen wiping tears and his voice breaking and all that. That is where a lot of people will want to look at. But I'm looking at how this affects the PR of JAMB. It is always better to come out and say, look, I failed, and this is why I did. I failed. It's kudos to Prof for coming out to do that, and it is. Do remember, it's really painful for you to admit that, look, I failed in the responsibility you gave to me. So I have a lot of respect for him. Veronica,
I'm not sure whether you see it differently, because if you look at 1.9 million sat this examination, more than 80,000 were absent, more than 64,000 results were withheld. Now we're having 379,997 to resit this examination. How do you see it?
Well, it is good that they came out to take responsibility, but what went on behind the scene? Because recall that we had been talking about this, and they had initially said that they put measures in place to ensure that there was no exam malpractice, and that is why we saw the result that we saw. But then coming back to say, oh, it's eventually a glitch, I don't know how to place it, because obviously a lot of parents are not going to trust JAMB moving forward. That's the truth. Because of the way the failure happened. We saw a chunk from the southeast and another chunk in Lagos State. And there were, in fact, ASU Nsukka chapter the chairman of ASU Nsukka chapter was saying that they were going to even sue JAMB because they felt that this was deliberate.
Directly targeted at them.
And that,
even though it happened to Lagos as well.
Even though it happened to some people in Lagos, then the question goes, who are those in Lagos that it happened to? Because some persons have begun to speak that maybe it's even people from the southeast extraction that it happened to. But that's besides the point. Right. The major issue here is that they shouldn't have allowed this happen in the first place, and they should have done their due diligence before coming out to admit or even speaking boldly to say, you know what, we knew what we did in the first place to ensure that people did not carry out malpractices. Yes, we know that the centers where they carry, the CBT centers where this exam happens is not theirs. And so anything could have happened at that point. So what is the conversation they have with these people when they are having their exams? Now you are giving people 48 hours to write this paper again. Are you sure that the CBT centers are in place and that this glitch will not happen again within the 48 hours that you're giving them? And will the students be fully prepared to carry out this exam?
Well, they just finished one examination, so I think they should still be in that spirit.
No, a lot of parents are saying, give us more time. Even the government is saying, give us more time to addressing this matter.
Right, very quickly, if you can touch on this. You know, I saw a story of a young lady who reportedly committed suicide somewhere in Ikorodu, 19-year-old, and after she committed suicide, 30 minutes after, she received a provisional admission from the JAMB.
This people process information in different ways. I guess that person that committed suicide is a girl. Is it a girl or
a girl?
Yes. Now it has nothing to do with gender. Before Veronica comes up and say that I just wanted to confirm
to be sure of the pronoun to use.
Yes. All right. Now, it is really sad that somebody will feel so depressed, so disappointed, to a point where she decided that, look, ending it all is what should happen. Now, let's talk to other children that age that may not be able to deal with some serious failure or some serious information that might come the way life throws information at us sometimes. I think killing yourself is like giving up. It's not like giving up, it is giving up. And it is not right. It's not the way to go. Now, if you wrote the exam and you were sure you passed, then you should be able to write the exam again. If that happens to be the case. But suicide, no.
Veronica, don't you think you know, our religious leaders, psychologists, everyone around should, you know, this is a time for us to begin to talk about how do we handle failure? Because when you fail at something doesn't mean you have a failure. I mean, you failed at life.
Yes.
Absolutely. So how you interpret failure is also based on your foundation. There are some parents that, you know, just breathe down on their children, and just talk to them in such a manner that it makes that child see less of themselves and just believe that they are failure, and then they cannot handle these kinds of conversations from their parents, and so they just believe that the best thing for me to do is to take my life as it is. I think that parents need to know how to handle their children in this situation. It's sad that this happened, and JAMB has to take the blame for it, because like I mentioned earlier, if they had said, you know what, we need to check what went on behind the scene before just coming out to say, oh, we did the needful, we tightened the news and all of that, that's why we are seeing this massive failure, and then you now come out to speak about it, I would accept that as against the deed being done, and then you come out and then you cry about it. It's neither here nor there for me. I really, yes, you accepted blame for it. Perhaps you might have been pressured to even accept the blame, because the time with which you accepted the blame and you telling us that you were bringing in stakeholders to check what transpired is so short. Is it a quick to note? So why didn't you do this in the first place?
That's right.
But the deed has been done, and we can only commiserate with the family as we speak. May the soul of the girl rest in peace, and have God just comfort the family as we speak.
And I think it's bold of someone like Professor Oloyede to, you know, to have come out, you know, boldly to say, yes, I take responsibility, even though some people didn't do their job. But of course, the leadership, the boxing stops on my table. Right, right. It's
but they are just calling for his resignation. Absolutely. I wonder if you would want to do that.
As a man of accountability, let's see what happens after that. Now, Nigeria News Direct talks about Tinubu's economic reforms are making Nigeria more attractive to investors. UK government. Can we quickly go at this because of little time that we have? As Nigeria's economy records 4 consecutive quarters of growth. This is the news that majority of Nigerians want to hear, and some majority of Nigerians never want to hear.
Those ones that do not want to hear, their motivation was political. But let's call a spade a spade.
Not necessarily.
Yes. If something, if we're recording successes, we all should accept it. It's beautiful to record successes, and do remember that investors will want to go to put their money where success is being recorded. So I expect that we have more investors come in, and I pray that we keep recording successes in the future.
We work because we need to stick to time.
Let me just quickly drop this on this matter, talking about recording success. I believe those who are not agreeing with it is based on their position. The average Nigerian just want to be able to buy food and anything they can afford. So whatever government is doing, let it translate to me being able to buy food on my table and live life the way I want to live.
But not every data ends on your table, you know that.
Not every data, they don't care. That's the truth. They don't care.
All right, then. Platform Times. Veronica, I'd like to start with you on this very quickly, if you can go at it. Federal government is launching national forest guards to reclaim 1,129 forests from criminals. And, we've been talking about safeguarding our forests. And then we have several amount of them. If you go to Sambisa Forest, it's a whole lot. It's as big as, I don't want to say Nigeria, but more than some other countries on the African continent and even European countries.
How equipped are these persons who are going into the forest such that they can achieve the results that we want to? Of course, they have to be equipped, because if you say they are criminals, the criminals there, they have weapons. So if you are not equipping them to be able to reclaim this land, then at the end of the day, we are back to square zero. So it's important that these people are equipped adequately to doing, and then welfare package for them, so that they can be motivated to do the needful and not at the end of the day be sabotaging the effort of government.
That's right. Right, Blueprint is next. Etoma, DSS will be dragging, or they've actually dragged Patotomi to court over shadow government. So we were debating whether it's going to be something of a criminal or civil offense, but I think for now it's somewhat civil. But if they are able to make their claims in court and the court rules in their favor, then they might want to proceed for criminal offense. But for anyone to usurp a constitutional government, do you feel, isn't it a threat?
A shadow government, from from the name itself, it's just a shadow. It's not. They are not. They were not elected. There are people that have come together to say, let us look at this government, criticize the government where the government needs criticisms, and applaud the government when the government needs applause. But the DSS point is that by doing that, you might just be turning the minds of a whole lot of Nigerians to believe that it's a parallel, it's a parallel government, and because of that, they start misbehaving towards the original government. So with everything that's happening in Nigeria, it's better for something like that not to come up because of the problems that might arise from it.
Veronica, shouldn't we, if we want to do anything, shouldn't we abide by the Constitution? Because these same people will always say, look at the Constitution, you guys aren't following.
Of course, they should know better. The caliber of persons that are part of the government are people who are elite.
Say they are disgruntled.
Yes, they might be disgruntled, but they say they are trying to form a credible alternative to the government of the day, trying to fill the gaps, offer alternative solutions in whichever way they want to. But at the end of the day, we are not in a parliamentary system where this is obtainable. We have a presidential system of government, and so they going by shadow government. I think that they should have known better. And we will wait to see what happens at the end of the day with this conversation with the DSS.
Right. So I was looking for Taiwo Awoni's, story. I think I found it. Awoni in induced coma. I think that was due to an injury he sustained, to his stomach. So, but it has sparked debate as to why did they have to induce him, into coma? That it could be dangerous for his brain and all of that. But I guess it will soon be out of it. What do you think?
Of course, definitely. If the people that induced him into coma knew why they did that, they are the medical practitioners and feel that for us to carry out this surgery or whatever is needed for him to be fit again, we need to induce him into coma so that we can treat him. We like to be emotional about issues. But when we do not have the knowledge, let us ask questions as against just sparking unnecessary debate. As from my perspective, if he needed to be induced, then that is what he deserved to get. And so at the end of the day, we should only wish that he survives at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and we wish that it recovers very
quickly as possible.
Quickly, so that it comes back to the pitch.
And kudos to Osimhen for his performance and ensuring that Galatasaray won the Turkish
regardless
Cup.
of what is coming from the village. All right, thank you so much for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. Still to come.